We're about to talk to, I forgot the name. We're about to talk to Field Garthwaite, who is the co-founder and CEO of Iris TV. And we're about to learn some more about his company. He's a co-founder and CEO. Okay, so hi. I'd like to start off with what I start with everybody. What is your name and what do you do?
Field. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Iris TV. Iris TV is a technology that's really centered around a technology called the Iris ID, which is a content identifier. So this is an identifier that we append to any TV show, movie, or video clip to basically have a standard way of understanding what it is. And then we store a whole lot of information on that ID so we can make it accessible to the entire ecosystem.
From what I understand, please correct me, it takes clips from certain things. Well, actually, do you think you could explain again, sort of,
Sure.
to help me understand a little?
Yeah, so when we work with like a broadcaster, say like AMC, their content comes into our platform, so you know Walking Dead or Mad Men, we get those TV shows into our system and we assign a unique content ID to every single one of them. And then we work with all these sophisticated companies that do AI, so they'll actually look at the images, they'll listen to the audio, and they'll create this standardized data that helps advertisers to better understand what's going on in the content. And the reason this is valuable is we've often had those experiences where we see those ads that don't really have anything to do with us. By understanding what's going on in the content, you actually know the mindset of the consumer at that moment. And so it makes it possible to actually make the advertising suck a little less.
Oh, interesting.
And make it a little bit more enjoyable for the viewer.
So it's like you take the show and then you take what if someone watching the show would want to watch for an advertisement and sort of select it to them. Like you give something from the show, like an ID, yeah.
Yeah.
You give an ID and then give it advertisement, same ID, and give it to an AI.
Yeah, and so like, you know when you browse the web and you're kind of going to a web page, that web page is actually a unique identifier for the content on that page. But in streaming video, there hasn't been an identifier that's been standardized that kind of allows that information to be accessed. So sometimes when you're searching the web, you'll see that there's like relevant ads based on what you search for. It's kind of the same thing, only in video. Now you can understand what the video is about, what the consumer's watching, and 1 billion times in a week, you can reach people who are watching family content right before Mother's Day and send them flowers. You can reach consumers at scale in a way that's never been possible before at the right moment. Instead of collecting a bunch of information about you and trying to kind of understand who you are, instead we just understand what you're watching at that moment, and we have no idea who you are, but we have all that information about what's going on in the program to then make sure that when the ad plays, it's actually relevant to you.
Oh, it's like if you watch a sports show, you're getting sort of advertisements about sports.
Sure.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You're watching a game.
Or, it might be a major car brand who sponsors a lot of sports, but maybe they're not sponsoring the NBA Finals. Anytime someone's watching NBA Finals clips or content, highlights that's in the news, they can make sure that their brand shows up, even if they weren't necessarily the sponsor that was on the court, right? Or actually, paid for the halftime show.
Okay, yeah. So another question, how do you make money?
So we make all this data available on that thing I was talking about earlier, that kind of data container we call the Iris ID that has all this information. And on it, there's data from a bunch of different companies. Anytime the data is used, whether it's to target and make sure that ad's a little bit more relevant to you, or if it was used to kind of share information after the fact to basically understand kind of where did that ad run, that there's a fee that is applied. And it's a very low fee that's transactional anytime that someone's running a campaign.
Huh. All right, yeah. And just the last question, do you have a message or any messages to a marketer out there?
Messages to a marketer out there?
Or marketers, yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of a message to a marketer, one of the most important things that you can be doing right now in video is taking advantage of new technologies to tap into mindset, because there's so many different consumers in a household. If you're limited just to identity data, then you're not necessarily knowing who in the household is watching at any given moment. But if you understand the contextual nature of what's actually playing in the video, which is what we do at Iris TV and the Iris ID, then you actually can reach consumers no matter what when they're in the right mindset for your ad.
Okay.